Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Yeah, welcome back to another episode of our Islamic Studies class. It is your son, Abdul Karim Ibrahim. Today's class is going to be a quick one. We just want to expatiate and elaborate some of the difference or similarities between the term hadith and sunnah. Based on the definition given by the the scholars of science of hadith, that is ulamahu mustalah al-hadith or ilm al-hadith, hadith can be defined as the sayings or deeds and silent approval of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is, what do we mean by sayings? That is aqwaluhu, all the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ that were documented, whatever word, whatever anything that came out from his mouth. Even there was another hadith in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when somebody was challenging a companion that why would they be writing. Okay, somebody challenged Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala. Somebody challenged Abdullah ibn Amr. Sorry, it was Abdullah ibn Amr, because Abdullah ibn Amr was a companion that usually write down the hadith prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was challenged that why would you be writing the prophet saying? Then he stopped. And then when he narrated to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam what he had, Prophet told him that you can write whatever you had from him, because I am a prophet of Allah and I will never say anything based on my own whim. So therefore, I did cover all his sayings, all his actions, his deeds, and whatever he gave approval to, that is what he remarked. That is an action that was done in his presence. Either he kept silence or he nodded to that particular action. So it also be referred to as hadith. Secondly, when we're talking about sunnah, sunnah covers and encompasses and it incorporates all the traditions, that is the lifestyle, the practice, the habits of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So therefore, sunnah covers all his lifestyles, most especially right from the time he became the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is why we should know that sunnah is more wider in scope than that of hadith, because we can say all sunnah is hadith, but not all hadith is sunnah. So that is one. That we should know that when we are talking of so we can see these two terms were just we can just fix out some slight differences. Rather, there are many interwoven similarities between the two. Number one, hadith. When hadith serve as the record of the sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith is the record of the sunnah. That is, hadith was the agent, was a tool that helped in recording the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because hadith is under sunnah. So why sunnah covers both the inner and outer lifestyle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is, example, the way he talks, the way he sleeps, the way he walks, some of the characters he display, the way he deal with people, so and so on and so forth. And secondly, both hadith and sunnah covers the same ground, because both were applicable to his actions, practices, and sayings. And thirdly, Hadith and Sunnah are both considered the second source, the second source of Islamic law. So they were both considered as well as the second source of, especially when the source of Sharia were being divided into four. We have that of primary ones and we have that of a secondary one. The primary ones are Quran and Sunnah, while the secondary ones are Qiyas and Ijma. So Hadith fall under the second primary source of Sharia. So the both Hadith and Sunnah cover the same ground. And lastly, Hadith is just a theoretical aspect of life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So once something is in theory, it is not pragmatic, it is not practical. So why Sunnah came to pragmatize and dramatize and practicalize the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the application of the theoretical learning, the theoretical knowledge we gain from Hadith. So Hadith come to us to narrate it. So here we are going to stop for today. So inshallah we shall continue further in our next class. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, it is your son Ibrahim.